Hello again. Good to be with you, and I really mean that. Very good to be with you. Bill Pfeiffer speaking from Mary's Field. We've been spending some time during this week on a couple of the podcasts talking about married priesthood and some things connected with the church. And today we're going to go in another direction for a little bit, and we'll be back to kind of finishing up. I want to spend some time describing the Mary's Field ministry. We've been involved in that for 39 years, and me as married priest, certainly, and my wife have been involved with that ministry for 39 years. That's no small thing, and I really do want to share that with you. It's good for us to know that all of the things that happen in our church or in our society, our government, really do affect people. And I think religions have been too touchy about not talking about decisions that government makes, local or state or federal or international situations. They affect people, and the job of religion is people. It's their souls. It's their peace to be able to pray, or their ability to have food, or whatever it is. Everything affects people. And I think churches have just been too touchy and really kept their hands off of things. I just wanted to call your attention to the latest bit about Dr. Fauci and the incredible fraud that he has been over the last year, passing out all kinds of bad information and causing people's lives as a result. And people have known that, but the people who have watched MSNBC or CNN have taken it as gospel truth, and you got to be wary. Those media are telling non-truth on a regular basis. In fact, someone at CNN just admitted the last 4 years have been propaganda. When was the last time we really used that word a lot? In the 40s and 50s to describe Pravda in Russia. Propaganda, it was all propaganda. Well, here they admit, a news outlet, a big news outlet. And so it's really important that we watch what we watch and are critical, the words of Mark Twain come to mind. It's easier to fool the people than to convince the people that they have been fooled. And that's the truth. And so we have to watch. We have to be careful about what we listen to. We're programmed emotionally to hear what we want to hear and to reject what we reject. And you know that. And it's very difficult. So people say, boy, is it hard changing people and whatever. And I really know that after 55 years of counseling people or teaching. It's very difficult to change what people are thinking or what they're doing. Very, very difficult. We're pre-programmed, and the people who are into the Fauci kingdom, they've listened and they've heard things that are not good. China, not a good place. They're really doing bad things. That needs to be said. Which means people like LeBron James and Nike, they have to reflect on the fact that the government in China says they're bad people. They're just bad people, and it's a good thing for us to say that. It frees our hearts and puts us into a right relationship with the truth, and that's important. And we need to sometimes, whenever I hear something that I haven't heard before, or questioning, I always say to myself, just stop. Suspect that person might be right. And if they're right, I'm not right. And the humble thing to do is to say, I'm not right. And to be able to say, gee, that's true. And accept it, so that we can move on and grow in truth rather than fooling ourselves. I'd like to share a little bit something I shared yesterday from 1 Corinthians because of the word prophecy. Just listen, if you would, for a few moments. In 1 Corinthians, Paul speaking to them about spiritual gifts and trying to control them as something being good for the community and not being used in a bad way. Now, brothers, there are different gifts, but the same Spirit. There are different ministries, but the same Lord. There are different works, but the same God who accomplishes all of them in everyone. To each person, everybody, to each person the manifestation of the Spirit is given for the common good. That's the reason, for other people, not for your own pleasure or your own holiness. To one the Spirit gives wisdom in discourse, to another the power to express knowledge. Good teaching and preaching. Through the Spirit one receives faith. By the same Spirit another is given the gift of healing, and still another miraculous powers. When I went to the University of Notre Dame, I saw all of these things being done by kids who are in college or just got out of college, and it amazed me. I've been reading this for years and years, but all of a sudden, the gift of healing, the gift of teaching with power, they had fire in their hearts. The whole thing of prophecy, people speaking in God's name, first person, and for encouraging the community or reprimanding the community if they needed it. So the gift of prophecy. In February, on Queen of Peace Media, you ought to check that out, Queen of Peace Media, either YouTube or Rumble. The prophets around the world, and these are people to be trusted, were saying that this year is going to be the year of volcanoes, earthquakes, and scorched earth. I didn't want to say it because everybody said, well, you're nuts. I mean, how can you do it? Well, a couple days ago, I looked, and there's 24 volcanoes now erupting. Etna just blew its top. And so maybe they were right. And I suspect they were because they're people who are prophets whose gift is tested. And that's worth listening to. And you'll learn that kind of thing from Queen of Peace Media and Rumble. And know that God's unhappy. If the universe is totally and completely one, and we are, right down to the subatomic level, and everybody's noting that today, we are one, one with each other, one with other nations, one with the universe, one with our brothers and sisters, one with the world, and so on, one with the animal kingdom. Well, the animal kingdom is unhappy as well. As a result, there's a moral relationship that we have with all of this parts of the universe. If people are bad and people are bad, and the world is in a very bad situation because people are doing evil things, even nature itself is erupting. And so volcanoes are saying, no, I'm unhappy too. And that we should be very comfortable with that, knowing and understanding the things that we now know and understand about both science and quantum physics. Let me share a little story with you. I'm sorry I've gone over a little late, but you deserve a nice story here. A frail old man went to live with his son, daughter-in-law, and 4-year-old grandson. The old man's hands trembled, his eyesight was blurred, and his step faltered. The family ate together at the table, but the elderly grandfather's shaky hands and failing eyesight made eating difficult. Peas rolled off his spoon onto the floor. When he grasped his glass, milk spilled on the tablecloth. The son and daughter-in-law became irritated with the messy table. We just have to do something about this, about my father, said the son. I've had enough of his spilled milk, noisy eating, and food on the floor. So the husband and wife set a small table off in the corner. There the grandfather ate alone, while the rest of the family enjoyed dinner together. Since the grandfather had broken a dish or two, his food was now being served in a wooden bowl. When the family glanced in grandfather's direction, sometimes they caught a tear in his eye as he sat and ate alone. Still, however, the only words the couple had for him were sharp words of admonition when he dropped the fork or spilled his food. Their 4-year-old son watched it all in silence. One evening before supper, the father noticed his son playing with some wood scraps on the floor. He asked his son, "What are you making?" And the boy responded, "Oh, I am making a little bowl for you and Mom to eat your food when I grow up." I often wonder, when I watch parents drop off or pick up their children at daycare, what will happen to their parents when they reach their senior years? What goes around comes around. We teach best when we're not teaching at all. Isn't that true? By telling the stories in school, the kids knew exactly who I was, what I valued, what I thought was important. I never had to say a word about those things, but they learned because of the stories and the kinds of stories that I told them. St. Francis once said, "Share the gospel. If necessary, use words." He understood the power of example. So tomorrow again, if you really want to be a happy person, you got to do the truth today. There's no getting around that. Good to be with you. God bless, and looking forward to being with you again.